You might be wondering how secularization is different from secularism and why this topic keeps showing up in UPSC questions, especially in GS Paper 1 and the Sociology Optional. By the end of this video, you will be completely clear about what secularization means, how it operates in India, and how to use this understanding in your answers. We start simple. Secularization is a social process where religion loses public authority and different spheres of life become autonomous from religious control. Think of society like a house, where rooms, law, education, economy, and politics slowly close their doors to religious management and run on their own rules. First, a quick map of the idea. Scholars like Brian Wilson, Peter Berger, M.N. Srinivas and Y. Singh give us slightly different but complementary definitions. Wilson sees secularization as declining social significance of religion, Berger as removal of religious domination from sectors of society, and Srinivas stresses differentiation of social spheres. Larry Schenner helps us by showing 5 senses of the term, from individualization of faith to politico-legal separation of religion and state. So watch for which sense fits the question you face. Why does this matter for UPSC? Because exam questions test both conceptual clarity and Indian context. And secularization is a concept where theory and Indian examples combine well. Now let's break the process in India into digestible parts. Historical drivers, social causes, obstacles, and social impacts. Historically, British colonial institutions, Western education and legal reforms introduced secular ideas and administrative separations that shifted elite worldviews. Social reform movements like the Brahmo Samaj, Arya Samaj, and Ramakrishna Mission challenged ritualism and caste discrimination and pushed a rational critique of tradition. Modern education, urbanization, mass media, and occupational mobility widened contact between groups and reduced the grip of closed, religion-based communities. Legislative steps, for example, laws against untouchability and reform in personal laws, also changed public regulation of religion and weakened some institutional privileges. But secularization in India is uneven. It is more visible in some communities and urban middle classes, and far less in areas where religion remains central to identity and politics. Let's look at the key features to spot in answers. Decline in institutional authority, greater individualization of belief, emphasis on rationalism, scientific outlook, and differentiation of social spheres. Use the analogy that secularization creates separate rooms or domains in society where law or education do not have to rely on religious approval to function. Causes include modern education, reform movements, transport and communication, popular media questioning blind faith, industrialization, and the lack of a single central religious authority among Hindus. But remember obstacles: political mobilization on religious lines, media-driven revivalism, plural personal laws, persistent community institutions, and early socialization into religious practices. This mixing of religion and politics is a major reason why secularization remains contested in India and why we see both stronger secular institutions and powerful religious mobilization simultaneously. In terms of social impact, secularization has weakened purity pollution rules in many urban contexts, simplified life cycle rituals, and changed pilgrimage motives from purely religious to cultural touristic. It has also altered caste dynamics, reduced authority of caste panchayats in many places, and made marriage more of a legal and personal affair, even as practices like dowry persist. For religious institutions, land reforms and regulation of endowments reduced economic basis of some monasteries and changed how leaders exercise authority. Scholars stress that secularization does not mean disappearance of religion. Rather, religion often becomes individualized, reorganized, or politically re-embedded in new forms. Now contrast secularization with Indian secularism. Secularization is a social process, while Indian secularism is a constitutional model of equal respect, state neutrality, and active accommodation. India's model differs from Western church-state separation because the state often intervenes to protect minority rights and manage religious matters for fairness and social harmony. And towards the end, we will understand a key idea that most UPSC aspirants miss, that secularization and secularism are related but distinct, and your answers should clearly separate social change from constitutional policy. Exam insight. This concept is very important for your exams because questions often demand both theory and Indian examples, asking for causes, consequences, and policy measures. Questions from this topic are often asked in GS Paper 1 under Indian Society and Governance, and it is frequently tested in Sociology Optional and an essay prompts too. When you answer, structure responses with a short definition, theoretical perspectives, Indian processes, and specific examples like colonial reforms, social movements, and recent media debates. A balanced evaluation should note both the progress brought by secularization and its limits. Political mobilization, legal pluralism, and social continuity of religion are key counter-arguments. Quick recap. Secularization reduces public religious authority, is driven by education and modernization, is uneven in India, and faces strong obstacles from politics and culture. Remember important names on the way: Wilson, Berger, Srinivas, and Schenner, and link them briefly to definitions in your answer to show theory awareness. Practical tip: use short examples. A law like the Removal of Untouchability Act, reform movements like Arya Samaj, or films such as PK to illustrate points in mains answers. Don't overgeneralize. State clearly where secularization is visible and where religion still shapes social life, and provide data or credible instances where possible. To conclude, secularization in India is complex and contested. It reshapes institutions but does not erase religion. And understanding both change and continuity is essential for UPSC answers. Keep practicing framing answers around theory, Indian evidence, and evaluation, and you will improve both clarity and depth in your mains responses. If you want a ready-to-use answer template or short examples for mains, continue with EduRef, where we break down model answers and revision notes step by step. Stay curious. Keep linking theory to Indian context, and remember that clarity about terms like secularization versus secularism will set your answers apart in the UPSC exam. Good luck, and see you in the next EduRev lesson where we convert these ideas into model answers and quick revision flashcards.